leadership isn't loud. And I think we tend to sometimes believe that. So my question for you is, what do you think when you think of leadership? What's the first image that comes to your mind? Is it the loudest voice in the room? Is it the one with the mic? Not today. Or is it the person who quietly shows up, consistently, intentionally, and leads through their actions? Because leadership isn't loud, but it is consistent. And today I want to talk to you about what that really means, what we learned in Network 360, and how all of that comes into the world of voluntary leadership that we have, and why that quiet, steady presence is exactly what creates legacy. My next slide, though, is to break you up with a little humor. Can you guys all see this? Take a second to read it. Yeah. If you would like a copy of this to keep, just reach out to me, and I'll make sure that you get a copy. But people can only meet you to the level of education and self-awareness that they've decided to take on, right? These guys are just like, oh my gosh, here comes a monster, and it's quite an intelligent individual on the flip side of that. So while it is a little bit of humor, there's a lot in what we took away from Network 360 in just this picture. One of the strongest stories was about Marie Antoinette, and we all know that she was a vicious ruler who didn't care about anybody. If you've done the work and the research, it was not the case. That was simply gossip, and we now know it is history. So I challenge you. That'll be a little bit of what we go through on the rest of it. This is a biggie that we took away. Leadership isn't always about the words we speak. Sometimes it's about the words that stop with us. It's quiet strength. It's steady presence. It's often the things that come to our plate as the leaders and the people in position that we don't say, the gossip that we don't pass, the negative words that we do want to react to somebody versus take a deep breath and respond. So just remember that it's not always about what we speak. It's quite often about the way that we show up and what we don't say that also is our leadership. It's the evidence we leave behind long after we walked out of a room. I'm going to try to keep up with my slides here. It's okay. She's amazing. This year, we lead under a national theme, Power of You, Power of Team. There's a huge focus for Network 360. We're only as good as the people we surround ourselves with. Here at Bay Area, Houston, our word for this year is elevate. We're going to elevate each other. We're going to elevate our community. And in doing so, we're going to elevate the industry and we're going to elevate our organization. Be the difference. Madam President, that's huge. And all of that works together for us to be able to have an incredibly powerful year. They aren't just slogans on a slide. All three of those are standards that we're going to lead by. There are marching orders as we go into 2026 to be able to make those differences, to bring our individual authentic selves to the table because, man, look around the room. Look at the person next to you or look at the person in your phone. I do see those of you looking at your phone. Hopefully you're looking at something awesome. These slogans are a reminder that leadership isn't about being in the spotlight or the title. It's about stewardship. It's about holding space for others, creating opportunity, and leading from the middle, not necessarily from the front. Maybe it could be from behind, and that is a perspective shift for many. Being in the front is great for those of you that are take charge pioneers from yesterday's conversation. We need you, right? We learned this last night in the team dinner. But we do need to be able to be present, and that is the key. Presence will make the difference. Present means you can show up and be you and contribute to the conversations and contribute to the progress. consistency. I have a short clip, and hopefully you guys will hear this, that I pulled up because I did a lot of thinking when I came back from Network 360 on what it meant to be a leader and what it meant to be in that room with all of the amazing people that put on Network 360. And I pulled up, and when I've come across this, I love Simon Sinek. So for those of you who know who he is, congratulations. For those of you who don't, what are you waiting on? And I'm gonna try to see if I can get this just right. We might have a second or two in between.
Chances are they weren't the smartest or the most talented people in the room. But they had a way of making you believe, not in hype, not in fluff, but in possibility. They helped you see a version of the story where you mattered, where your contribution had meaning, where progress was possible. That's what great leaders do.
That's what we did in Network 360. There was a bunch of aha moments on taking away from that, on why we were even in that room, right? Why would we get up and stand in front of a room of people that we might see on an everyday basis and feel like we're shaking in our boots, right? Somebody said, I see you, right? And that's our job as leaders, is to turn around and pass that forward and say, I see you, and be able to move forward, right? That's our entire yesterday's conversations. We don't have a pipeline of leadership, right? But we have to be consistent in that, even when it terrifies us. Leadership isn't about authority, it's about demonstration. And I think that I've got another clip from him here in a little bit that will kind of show that. But that's what people respond to. They respond to the leader who shows up, not the one who shouts the loudest. Often, the ones that shout the loudest are the ones that need a hug, right? I'm just gonna tell you that they need a hug. Yeah, everybody needs a hug. Listen, I'm a hugger, but it's not often the people that are the loudest that are the ones that necessarily are the ones leading the charge. Quite often, they're the ones that need the help. And so if you're sitting in the back and you're wondering why you're not up on a stage or why somebody is not talking to you, please don't doubt yourself. Surround yourself with some great women that'll tell the little mean girls in your head to be quiet, right? There's a room full of them. Look around. This is an entire room full of people that will be able to tell you that. I ran into that this morning. I'll draw that into this. I'm sitting here going, man, why in the world did they pick me to be on the stage, right? But you did, and here I am. But I have some great ladies in this room that I went to this morning, and I said, I don't know what the difference is between today and yesterday's little 3-minute speech that we did. But it means something, right? And I'll try not to get off on a tangent. It means something. So if you're nervous about getting up in front of people, good, because it means you're going to be a good steward. It means that the message you have is not about you. It's about the collective. It's about our organization and how we can continue to move forward. Which goes into our next one, guarding our circles. Sometimes it really is just stopping, setting the boundaries, setting the standard, and saying, this is how we're going to do it. It can make you sound mean, right? People are like, oh, well, she doesn't care that I have kids. I have 7 kids. I just want you to know. When I tell you that you can manage getting where you need to be on time, or getting where you need, doing what you need to do and doing it in a timely fashion, I'm telling you from experience, right? I'm asking you to come from a place that, yes, does it take some work? Absolutely. But find the people in the room that can help you put those resources into place and guard this women's council circle, right? Coming in and letting time sucks take away from what we have, it doesn't work, right? And I put these up here a little bit, and I'll try to talk into the mic, but also see safe spaces for dialogue, right? That's a huge one. Let everybody talk. Be curious. Our 5 voices conversation, man, our team dinner last night was amazing over that. because everybody in our group was able to be self-aware and be like, whoa, had no idea, right? But there was not a single person at our table that felt like they were being judged for who they were, right? They felt comfortable to be able to do that. That is hard to do, y'all. I know we come to the table already with so many biases, but it will grow your network, right? We need somebody and everybody in that group. Active listening and understanding. The bottom line there, y'all, shut up. Like, that's probably not the most professional thing to do, but just don't speak, right? When we go back to leadership, is sometimes the things that we don't say what you're thinking. Let somebody finish. Somebody comes to you with a challenge, let them talk it out. You'd be surprised that they don't already have the answer. They just have to do the work to be able to get through there, and they may not necessarily need you to tell them that. They just need somewhere where they can speak it out, right? Encourage constructive feedback for growth. I don't like to be criticized. Nobody does, right? But sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, right? We have to be open in ourselves as leaders. That's what makes a good leader. Can a team member come to you and say, hey, I got a problem? And can you sit down and can you listen to them? And can you hear them out? And can you acknowledge where maybe you didn't show up like you needed to, right? That's the hard part in leadership. And then of course the eliminate distractions was the time suck part of that. The ripple effect. Man, this is a big one. Some people call it the butterfly effect, right? You have no idea just how far what you do in this room or the next room that you're gonna be in, or for those of you that get the opportunity like we did at Network 360 to know just how far that's gonna go. If somebody had told me at Network 360 I'd be standing up here giving a presentation, I'd have told them, you're right, I didn't read the strategic plan where Joanne put the name in it. But a single leader can influence an overall group. How you choose to show up will directly affect the room. I did not get a chance to give everybody a little book yesterday, but I passed out notebooks yesterday. I didn't have my card on it because it's not about me. But they said, be happy, choose happy. What you're to do today is to be happy. For those of you that got one, yeah, the smiles, right? That was it. I've had the honor of being in TRLP this year, and right, we will graduate at the end of the month. That's exciting. But I am now officially known as the hugger, right? If you need a good old-fashioned mom hug, like your world has ended, I am right. I will make a line, right? Because it makes a difference. One person can make a difference. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm nobody special. I will tell you that. Everybody else will tell you you've lost your mind. I hear it all the time. But by me doing that and me stepping out of my comfort zone, I'm giving permission for the entire rest of the room to step out of their comfort zone, to do something that they wouldn't normally do, right? That's what Network 360 did for me. I look at this table right here and it makes me nervous. I'm intimidated by the amount of powerful leadership that sits at this table, but I'm also grateful, and this table too. They're in my direct line of sight, yeah. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was tapped on the shoulder, and I'm grateful that we went through what we did with Network 360. Legacy, I think, is really what we need to focus on. I really struggled between elevate and legacy for our network because we are, here's the truth, right? We're a volunteer organization. There's no paycheck, there's no ego, just purpose. Just your why as to why you're here. We're here to grow, to build others, to create something bigger than ourselves. If that's not your why, it's okay to take a step back. It truly is. And I thought about not saying that, but I'm like, it's okay, right? We've had it happen in our board just 2 days ago. It's okay, we still love you, right? I'd rather that than have something that will tear us apart, so let's have that hard conversation. But If creating something bigger, if that's not your why, it's okay. But if it is, this is where we get to rise together. And when my business finally hits its stuff, and I've got all the money that I need in my bank account, and my kids are successful, and I don't have anything to worry about, and I'm not moving, I'm still gonna look for the person in the room who needs to borrow a little bit of belief from me. Maybe a system, maybe a tool, maybe an inspiration, maybe a story of where they started, like all three of these tables sitting up front. This is what we should aspire to be able to do. I'll still find a way to help somebody with their next step without ever making them feel like they're the smallest fish in the room or that they don't belong. That's leadership, and that's our legacy. Recap of a couple of ideas that we had. I just kind of put these down. At Network 360, I was reminded of something pretty powerful, that leadership isn't built on the stage. This is great practice. You get comfortable being up here, but this is not where it's at. It's built in rooms like this one. It's built in rooms like we were in at 360, where we had over 275 leaders in Women's Council come together and say, this is our mission. Yeah, it was a big number. And that's across the country. We talked about lifting each other up and lifting others up. We talked about clarity and governance. We talked about building leadership pipelines. And let me tell you something, clarity breeds confidence. If you've never heard that, so if you are clear on what your network is going to do, your team is going to be confident in carrying out that mission. If your members and your board is clear and they've got that clarity of what you're trying to do, they're going to be able to have the confidence to go out and bring in members and strategic partners. And if you pass that on and you continue to build that, I don't know all the math, but I'm going to tell you that's a really dang good recipe for making it work. Leadership is about multiplying leaders, not just leading. And we're reminded that it's not a me thing, it's a we thing, all of it. I'm almost done, I promise. Somebody with a timer is gonna be like, you gotta go. I'm looking for her, where is she? The next clip. Leadership through service. It's actually out of the same video, so I put my cell phone number, my email address when you're done. If you would like the full clip to this video, I highly suggest you sit down and take the time to listen to it, but I pulled a couple of things out of it that I really wanted to be able to share with you guys in leadership and what we specifically do here with Women's Council. And we don't have audio on the computer, so you'll have to bear with us while we go old school here. Just be lucky I remembered where they were.
I can appreciate that.
I wrote them down. You know, 10 years ago, I probably could have remembered them all. It happens.
The people looking for proof that it's possible, because one of the most powerful forms of leadership is simply being the evidence someone else needs to believe. You become the proof that the journey is worth it. In every room, in every company, in every family, there are people quietly watching, wondering, hoping. Can someone like me do this? Can I speak up and still be respected? Can I fail and still be worthy? Can I take a risk and survive it? And when they see someone else do it, someone who doesn't have all the answers, someone who's still figuring it out, it gives them something more powerful than advice. It gives them permission. That's what happens when you act as if everything always works out for you.
Leadership isn't ego. It's service. It's the story we tell not through our words, but through what people see and experience when they're around us. If you really want to know where you stand, ask the people around you. Ask your board members. Ask your children. Ask your spouse. Ask your close friends. And tell them, I want you to be honest. You'll find some spaces that you can grow, but I bet for most people in this room, you'll be shocked at what you're told. You'll be shocked at what the people around you see you do every day, and you don't even know they're paying attention. You would be shocked at the number of people that will come back to you and say, you know, a year ago, this is what happened, and I watched you. And because I saw you do what you were doing, I believed that I could go one more step. I believed I could do one more thing that made it work. And I know so many of you in here over the years, my goodness, been around for a little while. And I know that for facts from your stories. That doing versus just speaking, that's what creates trust. That's what's going to create our legacy for Women's Council. Practical truths, because you can't leave without having something to do. So let's talk about a few simple truths. Conflict resolution begins with curiosity. Quite often, our conflicts are simply misunderstandings, either in what was expected, and if you've ever heard the term that frustration is simply unmet expectations. Do you have anybody in the room that's never frustrated? It's something we've worked real hard on, right? But we've set very clear expectations, and if I did not give that expectation to you, I can't be frustrated at it. I can't be upset at anybody but me, and then I can change something when I'm in control of me, because that's the only person we can control. And if you're in my head, that's a hard thing to do sometimes. Assumptions. Boy, I can't say this on stage, but we all know that one. But again, curiosity to assumptions, right? Why did you think the way that you did? The Marie Antoinette story, again, man, that was probably one of the, there were so many great things that we took away, but that was very powerful because I've watched it. I've watched that mentality wipe out entire networks. I've watched it be a cancer through the bigger network of our organization, right? So let's be curious. Why in a bad mood today? Why are you jumping on people? Why are you doing, why? Right? Because if you ask why enough, they're eventually gonna be like, because my toes hurt. I don't know, just right? It always comes back to, yeah, listen, it always comes back to something that's not near the mountain that we make it out to be, ladies and gentlemen. But your mindset shapes your reality more than the situation does, right? And it is perspective. And sometimes people, again, like our dinosaur, thesaurus, they can only hear you from where they've educated themselves. Our job isn't to judge where they are. As leaders, it's to meet them there and to help guide them forward. Can you do it? It's like Bob the Builder. Can't we build it? Yes, we can. I have older children. Continuous learning, right? We all know this. We're here in this room because we are all avid seekers of knowledge and continued education, be it self-knowledge, how to grow our networks, how to grow our business, to do all those things. That's the challenge. Never stop growing. Never stop growing. These are, I think, yeah, these are our call to actions and just things to remember on what we talked about and what we learned in Network 360 and a couple of things that I covered today. Leadership isn't just about volume and numbers, it's about consistency. Let your passion fuel your progress. With the collaboration, don't let it fuel the chaos. Let the chaos stop with you. Doesn't matter who it's touched before. Be vigilant, be intentional, be present. And above all, be the difference. Be the person standing there that does something different. That will give you the influence you need to be able to move our networks and to get everybody back on track. Leadership isn't something you want to become. It's something you demonstrate every day, every single day. That's the evidence that we're going to leave behind as Women's Council of Realtors. That's it. I'm done.